What was something your family did that you didn't realize wasn't normal until you did it in front of others? My mom is a yawn yeller. When she yawns, you can hear it from anywhere in the house. One time my sister had a friend over, and we were in the basement. My mom yawned upstairs, and my sister's friend asked, "Was that a coyote?" Double quote. My mom yells when she sneezes. In order for her to stop sneezing, she has to basically sneeze really loud, kinda like achoo. One time my brother had a friend over and he thought something was going on outside. It was my mom sneezing in her room. Use assorted German words in casual conversation, which as a child I assumed were English until I got confused stares from friends. My family has been in the US since 1902. My dad's family does it both ways. He thought a lot of Italian words were English. Then he visited Italy and discovered a lot of his Italian words were just English with an accent. Sleep after the meal during holiday get-togethers. Just the men. The women exchanged gifts. We would all go into the living room and watch football and kinda doze. No big deal. Did this once at my girlfriend's family Christmas and evidently I embarrassed her or maybe offended someone. Either way, I was the only one asleep while everyone else was energetic and conversing lively with family. I was woken up by girlfriend with an angry tone asking why I was asleep during the party. I was comfortable, relaxed, and we just had a lot of food. Made sense to me. My dad jizzed on my siblings and I a lot. He was born in Iran, so he had a little bit of a language gap even as an adult. And what he would do to mess with my siblings and I is he would use his finger and thumb to punch the tiniest amount of skin on our wrists. And he would call it jizz. Because I think that's what he thought the sound of that was if you could get close enough to hear it. So the scene occurred plenty of times where my brother, sister, and I would be running away from him in the house, pleading not to get jizzed on. Years later, someone explained to me that the noise Iranians think bees make is jizz. So therefore, my dad was buzzing us, not jizzing. Thankfully. My mom and I have had this inside joke where we go "don't talk to me" or "don't even look at me" in response to stupid shit. I don't remember how or when it started, but I've been doing it since I was a wee kid. I didn't realize how odd it was until I said "fine, don't talk to me" then in response to my mom telling me I couldn't get a video game I asked for and a woman in the aisle with us got offended. She pulled my mom aside and told her I don't need to be talking to her like that and she needs to teach me how to respect her male. My mom explained that it's a joke that we do but she doesn't think the woman believed her. Apparently it's not normal for your parents to openly and graphically discuss their sex life with you. And it's definitely not normal for your parents to have multiple partners younger than you. Edit. Since so many are asking, my parents didn't start this behavior until I was an adult. When I say the partners are younger, I mean they're sleeping with college kids while I'm in my mid to late 20s. Everyone in the family, extended family included, likes each other and gets along. One boyfriend commented that my family was weird because everyone got along. No massive fights, screaming and yelling each holiday, bringing up decade-old grudges once or twice a year. Like he has never met his uncle because his dad and uncle hate each other too much. That my mother would scream and yell every single night in her sleep. I legit thought it was a normal thing. My mom has nightmares. Double quote. Doesn't yours? Edit. Given the comments here, maybe a larger conversation needs to be had about why people have nightmares. Holy shit. Smoking indoors. I didn't do it, but my GF at the time had a veritable panic attack when we had my mother over for dinner. It was the first and only time my mother came to visit. I was born mid-70s. So I remember smoking in malls, planes, hospitals, etc. Both my parents were non-smokers, which made them unique enough. But still, every time someone came over, they'd pull out these giant ashtrays for their guests. Such a different time. It seems far more common for parents to be very overtly cautious, controlling of their kids' activities. Not that my parents let us have free rein, but they trusted my brothers and I to walk around the neighborhood, usually in big groups. Bedtimes weren't really enforced after like age 10. And never on weekends. Ironically, later I was pretty often a safe friend to the more cautious parents. Because I turned out real boring. I was probably a bit of a special case because I've always had a touch of anxiety. But I think having my parents' trust kind of removed the rebellion of it. Edit. Well, apparently it's not as uncommon as I thought. Hello other boring free range kids. Also, I've been told the original expression is free reign, but I think both versions work, so reign stays. Apparently it isn't normal to do grave rubbings. When I was little and went to graveyards with my family, sometimes they would bring paper and crayons to rub old dates and names onto them, like a leaf rubbing. I was reminiscing on this once with my friends and realized that these rubbings weren't a normal thing to do once they all gave me horrified looks. My dad forces us to say I love you. I say I love you quite forcefully now, and I don't mean to. When people say they love me, and they aren't my family, I stutter and kinda go blank. I think, shit, what do I say? How do I say IT without IT being forced? I was so used to ending phone calls with my children and my BF with I love you that one day I called in a pizza. When I was finished placing the order, I told the guy I love you. He answered back and said, yeah. Okay. I felt so dumb. Oh, definitely casually telling my friends sexual conversations that my mom and I had. Turns out my mom was oversharing my whole life and I never knew it was weird. Edit. When I found out it was weird and talked to her about it, she said in a very sad voice, but you're the one person who really understands me and who I can talk to about everything. Double quote. She made it a solid year of trying before she slipped up and told me a story about how my stepdad fingered her in her sleep. 3 out of 4 members of my immediate family have the same condition where we grow benign tumors in our brain and spine. So conversations about brain surgery and muscle wastage and loss of function are common. I knew it wasn't normal, but we kinda keep forgetting how most healthy people react to a guy losing the ability to move my toes. It's annoying. We had a bag in our deep freezer where we kept kitchen scraps until garbage night. It was pretty genius. But creeped some of my friends out when we would raid the Hot Pocket stash. My aunt in Texas had a 5-gallon bucket in her freezer of scorpions. They had a lot of them down there on their property, and every time she would catch one she'd throw it in the bucket with the rest of them in the freezer. I never could get a straight answer why she didn't just kill them and throw them in the trash. My mom made up words. I didn't know this until I was an adult. Out in the world saying fake words and having no idea. Wonkajawed means when you've been laying or sitting down and your pants need to be adjusted. Goo goo baby, small baby that still makes cooing sounds and probably still wears a diaper. Just the memorable one. There are so many. Turns out that sarcasm is considered really offensive by a lot of people. For my father it was basically the default mode of conversation. And I was 23 years old when someone finally explained to me that, no, this is not how it works for most humans. My dad and I speak really sarcastically. But it's always a joke and we both understand that. A guy I used to date insisted I was constantly being mean. But I didn't think I was being mean at all. He said it clicked once he met my dad and saw the way we spoke to each other. I mean, there's a lot of fked up shit on my end, but here's something pretty specific. Having dinners as late as 9 p.m. and just sitting there not talking the entire time we ate. This has went on since I was around 9 or 10. Shit absolutely fked me up when I started seeing my boyfriend and his happy family eating at 6 and being really excited and eager to talk about their days. It makes me think I'm just living with roommates rather than parents. Edit. Wow, I did not expect my comments to be so relatable. It makes me feel a bit better knowing I'm not alone with this. Thanks everyone for sharing. And to clarify a couple things. My parents specifically are engineers that work from home and basically have their own schedules 24/7 as long as shit gets done, aka they have pretty relaxing jobs. So there's really no excuse for their behavior and bad time management as nearly 50-year-old adults. A family towel. We had a towel rack. And we just hang our towels. It wasn't designated to anyone in particular, and every few days we'd just replace the dirty towel with a clean one. In college, a friend came to visit our home when she very politely asked why we all use the same towel. It just never occurred to me that was weird. Stealing food from each other's plate at dinner time. Once we had finished our meal, you would pick out the slowest ones, usually mum's. Wasn't until I did it at my now wife's house that I learned no one else did this. Rude to eat off someone's plate who is just a slow eater. Especially while they still eating. If they've finished, then go nuts over the leftovers. Respond to sneezes with a sarcastic, "You are not blessed." I got a lot of weird looks in school from my teachers. I about killed a distant family member from a surprised laughing fit my response sent him into though. Lol. He was actually kind of impressed we had that sense of humor at our young age. Take a shitty with the door open and talking to whomever happened to be standing in the doorway. Lol. Are the joys of the all-female household. The toilet is a no discussion zone. I don't care if there's a riot and the house is burning down. I need some peace and quiet when I shit. No exceptions. Are we kinda itch the inside of our throats ears by making this noise with our throats and putting one finger in your ear and moving it real fast? Apparently this is very weird and my friends still look at me funny. OMG, we do the throat noise too. It's like my whole family does it instinctively and it annoys freaks people out to no end. My co-worker used to tell me I sounded like a whale when I did it, which was a lot because hello. Allergies. When we have big family dinners, Sunday NGHTS, Thanksgiving, birthday dinners, Christmas, and just regular nightly dinner, my mom would serve us each individually from the kitchen instead of putting the food on the table and letting everyone serve themselves. I didn't realize how weird this was until being a guest at others' family dinners and seeing that not a single one of my friends' moms did this. It makes a lot more sense to let people serve themselves, other than children, as they know what they want and how much a lot more than the hostess knows. Not my family but my BF's. I was at their house and his parents were making dinner in the kitchen, prepping vegetables, while we and his brothers hung out in the living room. After a bit his dad comes in with sliced discs of raw potato and hands one to each of us. I was like, UHH. What am I meant to do with this? And they all go eat it. It's a snack. I took a little bite and it tasted just as starchy and bland and downright odd as I imagined it would. Apparently they do that every time they have potatoes. I didn't even know they could be eaten raw. The Irish. Man. Weird folk. We would have a plate of sliced cheddar on the table every morning for breakfast, and eat pieces of cheese as part of the meal. Apparently other people don't do that. To me it was normal to have parents run out in the middle of anything for fire depth calls. It didn't worry me too much until I saw a big ass farm propane tank explode as my dad went driving up towards the fire. Some of my friends asked if I was concerned about them getting hurt, killed while out on a fire call, but it never occurred to me to worry about that because they've usually always came home. My dad ended up in hospital a couple times but I've never worried about that. Now my kid, S, can grow up with that haha. Dancing around our Christmas tree. Not in like a satanic ritual sort of way. Only during the holidays and your usual Christmas songs are sung. Did this every Christmas throughout my childhood on my mom's side. Apparently it's a Danish tradition, I believe. I brought it up to my friends one time and they thought I was insane. Seemed normal to little o me. Having a physical fight at least 3 times a day. But we weren't arguing, kind of like playing fighting games. I was diagnosed with severe asthma as a baby. They'd find me blue in the lips. My parents smoked around me until I was 8. They also stopped taking me to the doctor once I outgrew the hypoxia. My childhood was filled with suffering and shortness of breath. I thought everyone got sick like me and that I was just a massive wimp. Edit. It's hard to type on an iPad. My parents always had an open house policy. We lived in a tiny house but friends were always welcome to drop by. My friends were always welcome to stay. The house was always full of people. Holidays. Big meals with lots of family and friends. Went to my in-laws. Strict appointment only. Meals are had in silence even at holidays, and in 20 years I have never been allowed upstairs, and neither has my daughter. She's 17 now and just doesn't visit them anymore because they are so weird. Husband avoids them as much as possible. I'm not sure if they are the odd ones or my parents are. The if he hits you, it's okay to hit him back rule. I'm saying since I only have a brother. Just as long as it wasn't downright brutal or enough to have longer term consequences at a string that lasts maybe 3 minutes. It was okay. Edit. We also don't have formal breakfasts or even lunches. Just dinners. And even those can get muddled. Breakfast because we all have widely varying sleep schedules. And lunch because we don't really have that much free time around noon. Cook almost exclusively boxed canned foods and nothing fresh or from scratch ever. I genuinely had no idea that other people didn't eat this way until I went to college. Friends and roommates commented on the strange assortment of boxed foods I had, so like instant mashed potatoes or bags of instant supsa, and how disgusting they looked. I was mortified to learn that my whole life I had been eating really gross and processed foods. All the whole thinking they were normal and real. Ever since then I make a conscious effort to always get a lot of produce at the grocery store, something we never had when I was growing up, and also to learn to make new things from scratch whenever time allows. Eat at our computer desks rather than the dining room table. I came here to say the opposite. We always had family dinner every night at the dining table. Then when I was older and started hanging out at other kids' houses, I realized not every family did that. Everyone would kinda just come into the kitchen, get food, and then retreat back into the house. Weirder were families that didn't have dinner and kind of just left everyone to fend for themselves. Dinner together was for eating out and special occasions. I liked my family dinners. One of the few things my parents did right. Stroke. I was punished as a child. Not the standard put in timeout. Or grounded from certain things. I learned in college that a lot of people my age, 18 to 23, didn't get spanked with a belt to the point welts formed and it hurt to sit down. Bars of soap shoved into their mouths after saying a naughty word. Pulled down the stairs and smacked across the face repeatedly after getting caught doing something wrong. Having things thrown at them. Or being called terrible names. My dad liked calling me a queer bastard. Go for late night walks to the Tim Hortons for donuts. So I grew up in a family full of night owls. We all prefer to sleep in the day and be up at night. And most of us can function on very little sleep when needed. I remember on multiple occasions as a kid being like 8 or 9. Playing quietly in my room around midnight while my parents and sisters watched TV downstairs and overhearing somebody say FCK. I could really go for a coffee right about now. And then getting all excited because that usually meant we'd be going for a night walk and getting donuts. I didn't realize it wasn't normal for children to go out at midnight to get donuts until I was being all nostalgic with my friends in my teens and they were like, WTF. I was in bed by 7. Double quote. Whenever it was Christmas Day, my parents would always hide a pickle, ornament, in the tree. Whoever found it first got to open the first gift and also get a small gift, like a candy bar. We have done this for years and whenever I tell my friends they always look at me funny. It is supposedly something that is very common in Germany. It's actually not from Germany at all and most Germans don't know what the heck we are talking about when referencing the Christmas pickle. We had a sock basket. It was just a basket of socks. None of them were paired and they were all different sizes. The entire family just went and picked 2 random socks every day. In all honesty, it was a pretty convenient method. I still don't pair or wear matching socks to this day and it seems so pointless to me. Until I was 16/17 I thought it was a normal thing to call a portable air heater a curped up. Which in Polish is a combination of 3 beginnings of curse words, like STPSFK. For example. I realized it was my family dialect when during winter break in high school I went with a bunch of friends to the mountains and the refuge was extremely cold. So my friend and I went down to ask for a heater and I, 16 or 17 at the time but I had pigtails and looked about 12 back then, Asked the old guy at the reception for a cupid up. The panicked look at the poor dudes and my friend's face told me I said something very wrong. Apparently, the story behind calling the heater a cupid up is that when I was born it was in very cold September, and as the central heating was not running, my parents would use a huge, old, wheel-less heater when bathing me. It would always fall on my dad when he tried to set it up. Hence every portable heater in our family household is called after the expletives that my dad would call out. I grew up in a family of deep sleepers. I could sing loudly, slam the door, and talk on the phone at 2 AM. And I wouldn't get a single complaint. I've built some god-awful habits because of this. Didn't realize how rude I was when closing doors, staying up late until I moved to college and had roommates. Sorry to my roommates Joes and Frans. The children were treated as basically kings, and the older you got the less important you become. I'm 15. When I turned 12 and could potentially get pregnant, my mom began looking for boys who I could potentially get with and have 4+ kids with. Thank FCK for Planned Parenthood and coming out as a lesbian. My nephews and nieces are the top priority in every situation, no matter what. I remember when the family dog died and we weren't allowed to cry or even appear sad because it might make nibblings names sad. My 90-year-old grandmama is visited by anyone in the family maybe one a year. When I was 14 I got with this girl and I visited her and her parents, and they respected me and my feelings, and they said goodnight, I love you to both of us when they went to bed, and asked me if I was okay, and helped their older family members. Her and I aren't together, but I miss feeling like a mother loves me. Edited for a word. Having 2 mums. A lot of the family friends were 2-mum households with the occasional 2-dad household. My best friend through junior school had a single mother. I must have been almost 10 when I realized that most families have a mom and a dad. When I was at my friend's house while at dinner, his dad said something stupid, like an opinion. Can't remember the specifics. And I asked him to defend his position. He looked at me, and I'm an adult. And I don't need to. It was then I realized that people don't typically get asked to justify their statements or debate positions. But they should. People need to stop saying stupid shit. We buy treats for family every time we leave the house. And by every time, I mean every single time. Every time I get off work, I buy a treat for my siblings to share. Every time someone in the house has an errand to run, they come back with a treat for everyone. Didn't realize it wasn't a normal thing until I asked friends to wait for me while I picked out some snacks to take home. I would like to know if anyone else does this, because everyone has treated me like a massive weirdo so far. My family has always cut the rind and layer of fat off a bacon rasher and fried that while the pan was heating up. It renders the bacon fat so you don't need to add extra oil. You cook the bacon in its own fat, and the fried bits are delicious, like little slivers of pork crackling. But I'm yet to find someone who agrees.